Good evening. This is the Town of Barnstable Waterways Committee meeting for Tuesday, May 20th, 2025. Present for the Town of Barnstable, we have Deputy Harbor Master Jay Horn, Administrative Assistant Polly Plachinsky, and for our committee meeting committee members, we have Greg Egan, Todd Wallantis, Gary Schramick, and myself, Paul Everson. Before we get going, I have to note that tonight's meeting is being recorded and broadcast on Channel 18, the town channel, and in accordance with Mass General Law 30A, Section 20. I must inquire if anyone is recording this meeting. If so, please make their presence known. Hearing nobody, we will go to the agenda. And we'll act on, first of all, we'll act on the minutes of April 22nd. If everybody's had a chance to review those, and if they have, I will entertain a motion to accept.
So moved.
All right, thanks, Todd.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And then we have May 6th meeting. That was the special committee meeting. I'll take, if everybody had a chance to review those, I'll entertain a motion to accept those as well.
So moved.
Thanks, Todd.
Second.
Thanks.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we have notice of intent. We have the 10-year comprehensive dredging and beach nourishment project. Do we have Griffin Bowdoin from the town, or Jimmy Hill from Coastal Engineers with us?
Jimmy Hill here. Yeah. Griffin, I believe, is not going to be attending. I'm Jimmy Hill on behalf of the town. I am a coastal engineer with both infrastructure and environment, not coastal engineering. But yeah, I'm going to present the 10-year comprehensive dredging and beach nourishment project. It was a notice of intent. We did receive an order of conditions 2 weeks ago. After having the project heard, we're working on some comments with Heritage back and forth. But Brian Taylor, Harbor Master, asked me to present on behalf of the town. So I have a presentation. It's what I presented at the order of conditions hearing. So I'll present the light version of that, and we can, any questions that the group has, we can get into. So if I'm good to start, let me know.
Yes, please go ahead, sir.
All right, thank you. All right, sharing is not turned on, so host is going to have to let me share.
Unfortunately, once we're in the breakout room, I cannot make you a co-host.
Okay. How would
Is
you
there
like
an
me
area
to?
in particular I could pull up on the GIS for you?
Well, it is the town-wide comprehensive dredge permit. Where this is covering Barnstable Harbor, then the Three Bays region, and then the Centerville Harbor region, and Hyannis Harbor was part of the project in like 2017. It's been removed from the project since then. So we're all over. This comprehensive 10-year permit is specific to the Barnstable County dredge, for dredging sandy inlets and using the sand's beneficial reuse is nourishment. So in the Barnstable Harbor region, they were going to try and pump that across the way, but that would just be pumped to Millway Beach there. Katuitt entrance channel and embayment channel, they get pumped to the Dead Neck region, and there's also Ropes, Loop Beach, Cross Street Beach in that area that can all receive sediment. Centerville River, the entrance channel there, and then a few portions of the upper and lower reach can be dredged for sand, for clean sand. That would be pumped to the private and town portions of Long Beach. Then there's Craigville Beach, which can receive sand, and Colville Beach can receive sand. So a little sidebar on Long Beach's private parcels. Years back, there was an order of taking from the town that allows the town, with town funds to nourish the properties below the annual high tide line. So not directly on the property; it's town property technically below the annual high tide line there. And then Prince Cove is also an area that can be dredged one time under this permit before, having to test the sand again, since it's, kind of way up in there. But one run of that sand can be pumped to one of the beaches in that region, Dead Neck or Cross Street, probably in that case. Let's see. I can just keep talking. So the 10-year comprehensive permit would allow a town to efficiently and effectively implement dredging, kind of, as needed throughout the town on a 10-year basis. They've been working towards this for some time. Yeah, we did a lot of historic research in order to pull, plans involving, which areas were maintenance dredging, which get dredged on a routine maintenance. So we found history going back to the 1800s, some areas in Three Bays, that had been dredged that long ago. It could be considered, maintenance dredging. Then there's some improvement dredging as well in that area. I can talk about the permitting timeline too. This started back in 2016. I picked this up in 2019 when I joined with Foth and started working for the town. Or with the town, we did 2 years of sediment sampling to get a suitability determination from the Army Corps, and that kind of snowballed into this permit application, which is all of those from that testing, all of those sandy sites, and then the compatible beach sites. The permitting timeline now going forward, so we have MIPA, a certificate on the expanded ENF, and then a final record of decision on the environmental impact report waiver. We have an order conditions now. We're working on the heritage determination. We are submitting an Army Corps individual permit with CZM consistency review this month. Yeah, before June, and then in June we'll be submitting the DEP Chapter 91 and 401 water quality permits. And then I just had some slides. I mean, obviously you're not seeing my slides, but I just went through each site, and the frequency they need to be dredged. So we've got Barnstable Harbor outer entrance channel can be reused. The material can be reused at Millway Beach and Sandy Neck Public Beach. It's about a 5-year cycle. Now the inner and mid entrance portions of that channel are different projects because there's silty material. So we did test that material, and you come up with a kind of a line in the sand of what's good and what's not for beach use. Region C is Centerville. So there's East Bay entrance channel, Centerville River lower reach, are both unlimited use pumping. Then there's an upper reach section, and then the Bumps River channel. On the outbound side of that bridge, can be used at Long Beach, Craigville Beach, and Covell's Beach. So that frequency is about 10 years, so it'll probably only likely be dredged once under this permit. Then the Three Bays region, some of those channels fill in a lot, more frequently, like Catuit Entrance Channel, West Bay Entrance Channel, and all the way back to North Bay. There's areas that can be dredged for clean sand. Some of those areas get broken out into standalone projects, like West Bay and North Bay. That's just been reviewed by MIPA, and we'll be submitting that project with the town to the Conservation Commission this year. And so the nourishment areas in that region, then Dead Neck, Ropes Beach, Cross Street, and Loop Beach. And then Prince Cove, like I mentioned before, can be dredged one time under this permit from this testing. There's resource area impacts. Of course, it's mainly land under ocean. There's coastal beach and coastal dune with the nourishment. There's lots of land containing shellfish. So as part of that, we're also working with the shellfish biologists. That way, they know when these dredging projects are coming, and they can plan their dredging of their species and relocation as needed. So they're not caught. By surprise. Mapped eelgrass, if anybody's concerned about the eelgrass, there are patches of eelgrass located at the Catuit Bay, West Bay, and East Bay entrance channels. When we recently did with the town Catuit Bay and pumped that to Dead Neck, we did a pretty extensive eelgrass survey of the area. We didn't find any eelgrass in that area, so it seems to be migrated out of the area. But with this permit, those surveys for those areas in particular will be required to survey for eelgrass, mitigate or avoid if possible. So to summarize, the proposed dredging and nourishment activities under the 10-year comprehensive permit will restore, enhance safe public use and access to the navigable waterways throughout the town, restore and enhance coastal resiliency to eroded shoreline areas, enhance overall quality of heritage endangered species habitats, and significant cost savings, as opposed to using other sources of dredging by using the county dredge for these projects, which is kind of what it's designed around. So yeah, that's about it. I'm sorry you couldn't see my slides. They're lovely, but if anybody has any questions, I suppose this is the time to ask.
Great, thanks, Mr. Hill. Yeah, unfortunately, because of this Zoom bombing, we have to go into these breakout rooms, and it's impossible, I guess, to share the screen. So thanks for bearing with us.
Sure. Thanks for being with me.
One of the questions I have, for instance, recently, and again, since 2016, go back, we've been asking for this plan, and we're glad to see things are moving forward. But recently, we had the break at the West Bay entrance channel, and for the town to, the emergency plug that up. Would an emergency dredge or transfer of materials count against the planned amount of dredging in a particular area?
Emergency, if you don't, those emergency areas are covered under the suitability determination as unlimited use within 10 years. I mean, I'm talking about like entrance channels that shoal in quickly. And when you're talking something that's able to shoal in like that, it's usually a sandy area. So under this permit, no real issues there for emergency dredging. Now, if you had to emergency dredge in, say, you go up in like the upper reach of Centerville Harbor, it can only, if you had to do some emergency dredging in there, in an area that's a one-time use, then yes, you would probably need to, either confirmatory sample or it's a whole separate project. I think that you could probably get away with saying, okay, we'll go and take a couple additional samples so that we can get this dredged without having to re-permit the whole thing. That's how I would go about it.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, that the obvious spots, like you say, with the good clean sand, readily identifiable, they seem to be the ones that will cause us the most problem, as opposed to a backwater where, up in Prince Cove, where you get one shot at it and it's a lot of muck up in there too. So
exactly. I was surprised that was even suitable up there, but there's enough sand in it, so.
Oh, that's great. As a committee, we're always looking for dredging, for more access for the waterway.
Easy group to talk to.
Yeah, thank you. Committee members, would you like to weigh in on this?
Yeah. Hi, this is Greg. Thank you, Paul and Mr. Hill. I have a couple of quick questions. I'll just say this is very near and dear as to our hearts, as Paul had mentioned. Our purview is navigation, and so this is. I'm just kind of surprised that we're kind of last on the totem pole on this. It seems to me, Mr. Hill, I think you did a great job, sort of executive summary there, really quickly. I don't speak for my colleagues, but I, for one, would love to hear further detail, but we have a packed agenda, and I don't know, we can consider some other time to maybe get further information on this. You had said that you work for the town, but are you with Forth specifically on behalf of the town? That I just wasn't clear to me.
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Great. Is this as presented in, I haven't read anything about it, but is this presented sort of as a super permit? So all these areas that you described relative to this plan, we're looking for all the different levels of approval simultaneously, or is this a top-down assessment of what Forth thinks the town needs?
So we're past like feasibility. So this started with the town saying, hey, we want a 10-year permit. We know it's possible. Chatham does it, Dennis does it, Yarmouth does it. We'd like our 10-year permit, and that way, under one swoop, and it's a long swoop, you test all these different sites. So you take sediment samples, you get through a first preliminary phase of seeing what's silty, what's sandy, and then as long as it contains less than 10% silt, it's suitable for most beaches. And so then it goes to another round of testing, right? And in that they determine what to do with the more silty stuff. But this is it's a top-down permitting effort. So we started with MIPA is the first people you go to. You have to go to MIPA. First,
excuse me.
Right.
I just meant regions wise. I'm familiar with the process, but in other words, identifying the different areas within the town.
Those areas within the town were identified, by the town, and then using the sediment sampling to determine which sites are going to be good for beach nourishment. Because that's the focus of this project is using that county dredge, because a cheap dredge to go and hog out these entrance channels and sandy channels with the idea that it can all be beneficially reused and they don't have to pay to haul it offshore.
Great. Thank you very much. I just have one other question. Could you speak specifically, how far do your plans show going in through the up into North Bay or the approaches up into the boatyards through the bay? These areas of heavily sediment, not just the approaches, but the traditional channels have really silted in historically for a long time, as well as past the boatyards up into North Bay. So has your studies and I hate to advocate for a specific area because we're townwide concerned, but I'm just curious relative to the planning in the Osterville area.
So north of the bridge, there is in this plan and is actually an improvement dredging area, looking to deepen it by 2 feet when they dredge it. And so this does go up and make the left out past you and up and around. And I had that, in my slides that you could see. If at any point you want to see the plans or anybody on this wants to see the plans, conservation does have a copy, and I've got a digital copy that I can share. But you need to have a computer that can open a share link, right? It's pretty big.
You did a great job with not being able to share, so I appreciate it, and I'll yield back to the chairman. Thank you.
Thanks, Greg. Anybody else? Jay, are you you can't pull up any of his material, correct?
No, unfortunately, I looked before the meeting and I contacted Harbor Master Taylor, who can't be here tonight. We never received any plans from conservation. I wanted to share them with the committee. If Mr. Hill wants to email the office what he has, digital version, I can get it to the committee members. or I can reach out to conservation tomorrow and ask them for the PDFs, whatever they have, and I can share them with the committee.
So I would say the easiest way, because I've done this a couple times now, Brian, he should have the link. But if you have a list of people that wish to view it, I can just set that up on my end, and that way everybody gets their own email link, and you click it, and it probably makes you verify your, just the security on my end, and then you can peer into the 1,000-page PDF.
Thank you, Mr. Hill. I'll talk to Harbor Master Taylor. Maybe that's something we can post on the town website underneath the moorings link and give the public access to that. But I'll make sure the committee members at least get a copy of that tomorrow.
Great, thanks, Jay. One other question I had for Mr. Hill. I know you said historically, part of the criteria is the area would have to have been a record of dredging before to be part of this. What happens with folks, let's say, pick anywheres, like say the Centerville River, if you have an offshoot of that, can private dredging piggyback onto this plan?
Didn't really. Some dredging projects are definitely designed with the piggyback in mind. This was not necessarily a piggyback in design, that's possible. But there is definitely some discrepancy, and maybe this is where Griffin would be really good in this in this case, because it's not my expertise. But say dredging using public dredge to dredge private, and then who gets the sand, that can be a headache for sure. So to avoid that headache, it might be worth somebody going after their own permit. It might be easier that way. But yeah, I'm not sure about how the county dredge gets paid for each slice like that. Now, and we did this recently in Green Harbor, right? It's mechanical dredging. The marinas just sign up. They said, "Oh yeah, we want in on this too. We'll start our permitting now." And then when the dredge shows up, they can, cover their sites too. And for the dredge, it's no big deal. They're still getting paid. For the county dredge, there just might be something there that's more than meets the eye.
All right, thank you. Any of the other committee members with any other comments? If not, like I said before, we have really been looking forward to this basically for the last 9 years. So thank you for the presentation. And I would just say that I guess we could put a resolution that the Waterways Committee fully endorses this project and this endeavor and are in full support. So we'll just take a vote on it in favor of this. Greg?
Sorry, yes, in favor, certainly.
Okay. Todd?
Yes, absolutely in favor.
Thank you. Gary?
Yes.
And myself, yes. So thanks again for the presentation, Mr. Hill.
Right. Thank you. Have a great evening.
Take care. Next up, we have the Hawes Ave Culvert Repair Project 11, Hawes Ave, Barnstable. Town of Barnstable proposes to repair the existing culvert beneath Hawes Ave to correct structural deficiencies, prevent further deterioration or potential failure of the crossing of the roadway. Damaged portion of the reinforced concrete pipe will be replaced in kind along with the mill and overlay of Hawes Ave. Refer to project narrative for further details. Do we have anybody from the town on this?
Yes, Matt Sylvia from Ty and Bond on behalf of the town tonight.
Thank you, Matt. Go ahead, please.
Jay, I'm just checking. Has the committee received any plans regarding this project?
I did
No.
not, sir. I apologize.
No
we
worries.
primarily with navigation, and from what I saw, it doesn't really affect anything in our purview, but you can go ahead and speak to it if you like.
I agree, and thank you for bringing up the GIS here. I'll just give a brief overview of how this project came about, the proposed design, and our project schedule. So this project came about, as you can see, if you're looking more towards the roadway has some small deterioration. DPW has done some patchwork through here over the years. Due to organics and pipe deterioration, the pipe in the roadway has been declining. The culvert is about 60 years old here, and it's a 30-inch concrete pipe. So our project doesn't actually go into the harbor. It replaces 183 feet of the pipe from a manhole structure in that highlighted blue area, which is part of the salt marsh, all the way to a head wall and a wing wall into the adjacent side of Hawes Ave. So this project will replace 183 feet. Will be basically maintaining the existing and repairing with a new 30-inch pipe. Wetland restoration will be a part of the project. We're proposing sheet piles to limit the impacts to the wetlands, and we're also supporting the culvert through helical piles that will provide long-term support of the future condition. So our project also includes mill and overlay of Hawes Ave to make the transition through the culvert and nearby beachfront properties in the Hawes Ave beach parking lot, all a continuous surface after the project is done. We've been working with the town. We're currently in the 60% permitting design phase and anticipating a construction of this project in the late fall, away from all the seasonal use of this area. We anticipate the project being constructed over the course of 2 to 3 weeks, basically plugging the pipe in the manhole and doing some coffer dams over by the salt marsh area. That's the basis of this project. Like I said, it's majority of a repair project. It's a necessity for public safety and the roadway itself in this area. So open for any questions from the committee.
Okay, thank you, Matt. As Jay said, it very little impact into the water sheet where our main concern would be. So if anybody doesn't have any further questions about this, I'd entertain a motion to approve this.
I cannot make that motion.
I'm sorry, Todd. Yes, make that
Yeah,
motion.
happy to
Yeah,
make that.
thank you. Thank you, Todd. Second.
Second.
Okay, thanks, Gary. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
sir.
Appreciate it.
Take care.
You too.
Jay, if you could go back to the agenda. I'm sorry, I'm running off an iPhone here. 251 Green Dunes Drive in Hyannis, proposed dock and float. This matter was previously discussed on April the 22nd. It was brought to the applicant's attention that the intention of using a motorized vessel was not clear, and the applicant needs to go back to the committee to make clarification. Applicant provided a revised plan in response to comments from the conservation agent. Do we have the engineer present on this one again?
Yes, good evening, Mr. Chairman. This is Jose Pichardo from Green Seal Environmental representing the applicant. Yes, in fact, you did approve this project at the last meeting for the use of a motorized vessel. It is on the records. If you go to the tape, you can rewatch it and hear it. We did, however, make some minor revisions to the plans. Those were submitted to the harbor masters for review. None of the revisions will affect anything that is under your peer review, which is obviously waterways and navigation. The dimensions are the same. We basically just made some notes to clarify the conservation members that it is for a motorized, and they are okay with the project. They just wanted to make sure that you guys were not confused by the same situations that they did. With that being said, I'm here to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. You, at that previous meeting said it was going to be a motorized dinghy for two people. Is that still the case?
That is correct. The change we made is that the boat is not going to be a bigger vessel. However, it will be in compliance, okay? We'll provide all the separations to the bottom that it is on the guidelines. That is the only difference. And the reason being is we received, after your meeting, the report from the town biologist, and the area was considered not suitable for shellfish. Okay, so that there is a difference there. With this area being not suitable for shellfish, you only need to provide 1 foot of separation from the shaft to the bottom instead of 36 inches. So that is the only difference. So now we are able to use larger vessel with 14 inches draft, which is, I have the exact model, it's going to be a CCAT vessel, 34 feet, 7 inches, and again, a draft of 14 inches. It's everything in full compliance. We demonstrated that there is nothing any closer than 200 feet from this in terms of channels, and obviously the nearest pier is hundreds of feet away.
Jose, I'm sorry, how many feet is the vessel?
In length,
Yes,
34 feet, 7 inches.
34-foot vessel with a 14-inch draft?
Correct. And we can send the specs. It's a CCAT. Yeah, so they make vessels for very shallow waters very efficiently now.
Okay, so I'm sorry, but on the last meeting, you said it was a two-person dinghy, and now it's a 34-foot boat.
That is,
I mean, if this is a catamaran, they have a very wide beam. Do you know what the beam is on this vessel?
yes, it is 11 feet 3 inches. And again, the channel is 202 feet to the nearest point. So, and it does provide the 1 foot separation to the bottom.
I mean, are your clients aware of Halls Creek? There's no water in there. I can't imagine a 34-foot vessel entering this area. You know, we have several moorings there, and the largest boat I permit is around 19, 20 foot max. And that's in the deep water.
Yeah,
Okay.
our soundings do show that the separation that is required will be provided. So that's all I can say.
Well, is there, Jay, can you bring it up? There's no marked channel, correct?
There is no ATONs going into this channel, no.
Okay. And when you say, sir, that the channel is 200 feet wide, maybe
No, 200 feet separation to the channel. So in other words, the boat will be, the end of the dock will have 200 feet distance
200 feet to the opposite shoreline?
to the nearest channel, where the buoys are. Okay. I mean, I understand it's an unofficial channel, but that's where the buoys are, and obviously the deepest waters. So other boats will have plenty of room to navigate, if you would.
And we are still talking in the same location where you had
That is
mentioned before?
absolutely correct, Mr. Chairman. The same location, same exact dimensions. So nothing has really changed on that.
And
I'd be,
yeah, go ahead, Todd.
I could be wrong, and I'll be the first to admit it, but we've been up in there fishing a couple of times. I question those dimensions. I'd like to see it.
the dimensions of
The
the
boat,
dock.
That from the outward bound section of the boat, it's 200 foot to the unofficial channel. To
That's correct.
be honest with you, from being up there in a 15-foot boat, that's not how I know it to be. I could be wrong, but
The area is marked, so I did set a buoy that was required for conservation. So you're free to go and look at it anytime.
okay. I think based on just the discrepancy from the last conversation with the boat size and the dramatic difference that we're talking about, I'd love to see some plans with some schematics on it and some distances, because I got to be honest with you, I don't feel comfortable with this at this point at all.
Yes, and we presented all full design plans, and the entire filing was submitted.
Well, then it should be easy for us to take a look at it. But that's a huge disparity between a 2-person rowboat and a 34-foot catamaran with 1,000 horsepower rating. And that's per their website. 34.7 rated for 1,000 horsepower.
and on the left,
Correct. And again,
yeah,
we
go
did
ahead.
not know that the area where the dock is going to be is not suitable for shellfishing. So now we only need to provide 2 feet to the bottom. That's why that change was made.
That's and I'm all in favor of it. If it's something that can happen, I'm going to be the first one to vote in favor of it. I am not going to even render an opinion until I see what the dimensions are. Because if we go ahead and vote in favor of this right now based on the size of the boat change, and there is that kind of water, and we allow this dock to stick out and then another 11 foot 3 inches of beam, and nobody else, I guess, upriver can get by, that's a problem.
I just would like to add that is still under the 100 feet that you are allowed to have beyond the cost. Okay, so if you add it up, you're still under. We could have a dock that is project 100 feet into it based on the regulations.
Do we have those displays to look at this evening?
I submitted all the plans. Yes, so you do have my planning profile that shows everything. So we can easily scale. If I was able to share, I'll show you. I'll even draft it for you right now in 2 seconds. But unfortunately, we don't have that capability.
So I got a copy of the revised plans. Is this what you submitted us?
Does it have a red note that says the intent of the plan? If you zoom out. Okay, I guess I'm looking at the planning profile. Yeah, that one. Yes, that is correct. That is the most recent plan. So you do have it. Yes.
I mean,
Are those the soundings?
This particular area doesn't have a lot of motorized vessel traffic, but it's a very popular kayaking and paddleboarding destination. There's a rack on the inner corner here. Let me just move my screen real quick, because I go up in here often and GIS and look at the area and how it changes every year. There's almost 100 kayaks and paddleboards on the beach here in that neighborhood. So I know there's not a lot of motorized traffic in this area, but there's a ton of kayaking going on. I just have reservations at a low tide with 34-foot boat there. It's quite a change, like Mr. Willantis said.
Jay, can we look at those soundings again?
Yeah, let me just pull that back up. and on the website, the 32-foot version has a 16-inch draft. I can only assume the 34-foot drafts more. I know cats don't
no, Jay,
draft
it
a
says
lot.
the specifications that we have for what he's getting is 14-inch draft.
Yeah, that's a matter for conservation as far as the draft's concerned. The beam is not great. Over 11 feet that's a beamy boat.
Mhm. And if you show the profile again, the 10 feet is dimension over there at the width of the float. So you can see if you project that, you're gonna be at a station 2 plus 20. That still give you another 100 feet, and you're still not at the opposite end. So kayak will have more than enough room to go around it um, without any issues.
I'll let the committee members make their comments on this.
Yeah, looking at we're 2.9 is the deepest I see in 3.1, I'm sorry. I see a 3.1 in there, but generally it's only like 2 feet of water up that whole area.
That is correct. If you go to the profile and scroll down, actually up where the section is. So that is correct. The bottom will have at mean low water, which is elevations positive 0.1, at 2.2 feet separation to the bottom at that area, which gives us exactly what we need to provide to meet the regulations and guidelines for the town. But it is correct. It's shallow water. So obviously, at high water, you will have 5 feet of water plus. So it's one of those things. The regulations are there in the guidelines. We're meeting them. That's all I can tell you.
Okay, can we back up and ask where's the departure from a two-person dinghy to a 34-foot 11-foot 3-inch beam boat? I mean, that's a giant leap.
Well, it's the shellfish survey. It came back as a non-critical shellfish habitat, and therefore they're allowed to have a larger draft or less clearance between the actual bottom of the boat and the seafloor.
And that is correct, Jay. So if it was considered shellfish supporting area or area that could support shellfish, we would have to provide 36 inches opposed to 1 foot based on the survey that was that we had a private third-party survey, and it was validated by the town biologist. So we have 2 reports that says the project area does not support. It's just basically all mud in there.
So did the shellfish survey come in after your proposal last meeting?
Exactly. The same day that you approved, okay, I reached out to the shellfish committee because our meeting was continued due to no quorum. So they sent me the report the following day after you approved our proposal. That is the reason. So at that point, we realized, okay, so we don't have to have a small boat. We can have a better boat so the applicant can enjoy it. It still meet all regulations. So that is what happened.
Okay. Other committee members, comments on this?
This is Greg. I just looking at this relative to navigation, and I think Todd's been up there. I think what's vague is it's 200 feet from what? There's no channel markers.
To the nearest floods. to the nearest floods that are, I believe it's those blue and green dots. That
Are they green?
looks a lot like what I had.
So it's not 200 feet to the other side of the channel. It's 200 feet from those floating structures that we see now.
Correct.
So I guess my input on it is I understand that it meets the requirements relative to depth beneath the keel, but how does it impact navigation? Where is the deep water? If the vessel now is in the deepest spot, does it restrict others from using the waterway? And it's not clear to me from the information that we have tonight if that's the case. If it is, you know, I personally wouldn't see a problem relative to the navigation because I don't think there's a lot of big boats that go up there, and the applicant uses his judgment that's an appropriate size boat for that inlet. That's his own judgment. But sort of our perspective is, okay, how does that affect others on the waterway? And it's not clear to me really what that would do.
All I could say is, to me, it is absolutely clear that it will not be an issue. And compare, we have watched hundreds of hours of videos on other sites, and this is not even close to the ones you have approved with other piers nearby, less than 100 feet to each other. We have nothing in here, basically. And again, from the opposite side of the channel, if you are the opposite side of the shore, where the marsh to the east is, it's still gonna be hundreds of feet to it that kayaks can go to. So I honestly don't see what the struggle is here.
Well, maybe I wasn't clear. It's
And I understand that. Okay, I can't really show you with my screen and take dimensions or anything because of the limitations we have. So I do understand it, but I just want to say that here there is no issues, howsoever.
And you said you sunk a marker
That is correct. We have
where
a
the
market at the end of the float. It was required for conservation inspections.
Okay, so now that you've changed the boat to add another 11 feet, so when we go up there this weekend, it's another 11 feet from where your marker is where your proposed is.
Well, that's where the boat is going to sit, but the regulations doesn't say that we need to mark the boat. We need to mark the pier.
Sure, that's fine. I just want to make sure that I'm clear.
That is correct. You are absolutely correct, sir.
I got to say at this point, I'm again like Mr. Egan. If it does hold water, I'd be in favor of it. At this point, I don't have enough information to render an opinion, and I don't remember it that way. And from the GIS, it doesn't look that way. It looks like this boat's going to be sitting in some of the deepest water that's available. So unless we can either have in front of us dimensions on the width of the body of water and to corroborate with the soundings that are available to us, I'm not comfortable in rendering an opinion tonight based on the size of vessel change alone.
Yeah, this is Gary. I totally agree with that.
Jay, can you zoom out? Do we have other moored boats, whether it be moored or docked upstream from that further up?
There's nothing further up the stream. The closest mooring in 2024 was the green. You can see a couple of vessels here, but when this reboots, you'll see a green dot here, green dot here. Those are the two closest moorings.
Oh, so that's what those are moorings. I thought those were plots to mark the navigation area.
No, sir, there's no private aids to navigation in here. We don't deploy any in Halls Creek.
Okay,
Um,
understood.
you know, I mean, when I take a 16-foot Carolina skip up in here to record this mooring, and I have to go on a high tide because at low tide I'm running aground. I don't even understand how they're contemplating putting a 34-foot boat in there, but um, like Mr. Egan said, that's up to them.
And Jay, can you take your marker there where you marked 190 feet across? Can you come off of the shore in the approximate area where this dock is going to be from the
Eh,
spot that you have what I see is the deeper water. I see some sort of on the picture you have there, some sort of yeah, I don't know if it's an old buoy or something there, but it kind of looks like a more defined deep water area closer to that left bank as opposed to the right.
And I just want to clarify that the dog is not going on that location where the dimensions are. It's more towards the north.
Right.
It's like right in between the two pumps out. Yes, that is correct. That's where it is.
On your plans, it looks like it's coming off of
It's right where you have the
the mouse.
pointer. Yes,
Yeah.
it's right there and goes perpendicular to the shore.
And from the marsh, do you have a measurement on the plans? I can't tell how far it extends from the actual marsh line. I have the overall length. I don't
On
have a measurement from the marsh into the water. Do you have that figure?
We have the stationings on it. Um,
On the plans, it looks like it's coming from the next protrusion up. Because that's the house it goes with.
That's what I'm saying, Todd. On the plans, it looks like it's coming off of this point because it's in line with this little
No, I think it's the house
subdwelling here.
further north. See this, the next one up, the smaller footprint, if you will. Because if you Google Earth this address, it's not that house. It's the one that's further north.
This is 251 Green Dunes property we're looking at here. This house is 253.
that is correct. But there are two buildings on that property. That's maybe what's creating the confusion.
My screen's just not loading quickly.
Yeah, I see what you mean, Todd. It almost looks like it's coming off the lot 65, the property line right there.
Yeah, it reads very differently.
Both of these properties owned by the same owner?
That is correct. It's three lots. Actually, he owns the island where the inlet mouth is. So everybody that goes into this water is actually crossing in between his land.
Jose, is this lot 65? I can't tell on my GIS.
The town has it as one parcel, but it is lot 65, 66, and
So
I
Mr.
believe
Willantis is
67.
correct then. I mean, you guys have this coming off right on the line of lot 65. Your proposed location is here on the corner.
No, the parcel line is probably 100 feet away from that. You see what it says to the north at the very edge of the plan view says parcel line label. Right near the profile, that's where the property line is. So in other words, we could go with this more to the north and west and still going to be very far from the nearest property line. So
I'd like to defer this. I'd like to see an overlay on a satellite image of where you'd like to propose this. That would be my suggestion to the committee. That we defer this to next month so we can see exactly where it's gonna be. If it is off of this section up here, it's a very shallow area. We're cutting off a major part of the channel. And I have concerns with that. From the plans you submitted, it's coming
it-
off of the corner of lot
no,
65.
no. That is not correct. That's not what the plan says. The pier goes right in between the two pumps out, and the property line is very far from that. That is not correct. That's a misinterpretation of what the property lines are.
Oh,
I don't know where you're getting a property line that is closer
Then
to the pier.
and I agree with Jay that let's revisit this because we're not going to advance here. So let's revisit it, and when we do revisit it, make sure that we have plans that we can circulate a few days before the meeting to review, so that we can see distance shoreline to shoreline with the soundings on them in the exact GPS location where the pier or the dock is going to leave and protrude out into the water. And that way we can have a much clearer visual so that we can corroborate your story and hopefully vote in favor of it. But
Yeah, which is fine. I could do that, no problems. Now my question is, why don't you have the plans?
Well, I'm
Because those
looking at
have
the
been
plans.
submitted.
Jose, look
That
at the plans that I have up on my screen now.
Yep.
As Mr. Willantis said, we're showing lot 65 here, right? That's the property line. Here's the structure, right? Is that,
where do you say the property line is again? That's what my confusion is.
the black dashed line.
That's not a property line. That's the station for the profile. And that's what I'm trying to explain. The nearest property line is probably hundreds of feet from that.
what is this? Is this a structure right here?
That is a structure in what you see as a dash line. That's the stationing for the profile that you have on the top. Stations 0 is at the face of the building.
Okay, so what
Okay.
structure does that represent on this Google Earth image on the GIS?
That would be the smaller building
This
right
here?
here. No, not that. That's the next property.
This one here.
That one over there. You are correct.
So according to your plans, it's south of this building. It's somewhere down
No,
here.
no. It's right when the two pops out are, because look at the profile. The stationing does change in plan view, so you have to put the two of them together.
Okay, so what's the dimension from shoreline to shoreline?
I can give you that. If you give me a second, I can open up the CAD file and give you an exact location. It's gonna be just a second.
And how far does the dock extend out from the shoreline?
Oh, that you do have. It's on the profile. So if you see the stationing over there, the shoreline is at about station 140.
100 feet?
Let's see, 150. And then the end of the pier is at station 2 plus 00.
So then we add 11 feet, 11 and a half feet on for the beam of the boat.
That is correct. I'm still going to give you, if you continue to look at the stationing, it's still going to be like I stopped my section at I stopped it at station 3 plus 20. So that's another 120 feet from the end of the pier. So obviously you add the 10 feet. So it's still a lot of room. I don't think this is even close to
So now what's the dimension from
to borderline. I'm sorry, sir. What was your question?
dimension from shoreline to shoreline?
Yes, I'm opening up the CAD file to measure it up.
The nearest point too.
Yes, I will give you that.
Perfect. Thank you.
Sorry, it's taking a while to open, but I will give you that.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, again, I think we're still just shooting in the dark here. My suggestion would be to get an overlay on a satellite image for the committee so that we can take a better look at this.
Interesting enough, Jay, and this is where my issue is. I did submit the overlay image with it, and I submitted a half a mile radius plan to your committee. So the fact that you guys are saying that there's not enough information to figure this out is kind of puzzling. I'm not gonna lie to that.
Well, let me take a look. Let me take a look in the plans that you submitted. Okay, give me 2 seconds because I have them pulled up. I went by the latest revision that your company submitted.
Right, but you have the entire filing from before, which includes an overlay image for half a mile. Okay, so
Hello.
okay, so I'm measuring from the end of the pier, okay, which is what I have on my AutoCAD file, to the shoreline, 191.5 feet to the nearest point. So if you subtract 10 feet from that, you still have hundreds of feet of water that kayaks can go by.
May I please speak?
Hold on, please. Jay, so we don't have the overlay, or you're looking for the overlay where it's gonna
Yeah,
be in.
I don't see it in the plans, not on a satellite image. All I see are the CAD plans.
Okay, the gentleman wishing to speak to this?
My name is Zen Merzwa. I'm the owner of the property.
Yes, sir, go ahead.
I'd like to clarify a couple of things. I've been listening to all these meetings we've been going on with this, and it's the first time I've spoken out of 6 meetings. My credentials are that I'm a marine owner in Fort Lauderdale of half of 5 years. I've also been a Marine Advisory Board in Fort Lauderdale and Dania Beach. I'm an average yachtman, had probably more yachts and boats and cars. I own 1,400 feet of that Halls Creek area, 1,400 feet. I own 1,000 feet of Craigsville Beach. I own the jetty and I own the island. This boat, particular that we picked, is made for flats. It's a particular low drafting boat for bone fishing and other low fishing areas in Key Lagos and all over the world. It's made for low drafts for situations like seagrass in Key Largo, which is more sensitive than anything you have here, which is only allowed 14 inches. You can bring this into a shallow area and draft out. So this boat is a custom boat. It's being made just now for low drafting flats boat. It's a flats boat. It's not your normal boat you see in Cape Cod. It also has a joystick, and it's also a catamaran, which you can navigate better with a catamaran than you can a monohull. I don't know if anyone of you guys know that, but you can turn on a dime. And it also has an electric trolling motor. And at being 70 years old, I'm a good day fisherman. I don't plan on fishing on going out in low tides. And this is what this is being based on. So I talked to the people next to me further up. They're a pair of doctors. They applied for a dock. And they told me, good luck, Mr. Merzwa. They're not people in Hyannis don't allow docks. That's what I was told. Oh, I said, here I am. I own 1,400 feet of Halls Creek. I'm trying to be prevented from owning a boat that's built professionally for this particular area and type of use. And I don't know if you guys know that, but the gentleman said, I can't see your names. I've been there since August. He said 100 kayakers go. You have an island of a mile there. I haven't seen one kayaker there. Go by that creek or nothing. I'm remodeling the house and I'm staying in the carriage house, which is part of the property that goes out to the dock. And look at the birds. I look at all the nature. I see a wide canal and I don't see no kayakers. I don't see anyone navigating further down because the people that tried to get a dock rejected. So I had to make those statements because they weren't heard. Jose's an engineer, but not a realist. I'm a realist. And I believe that I should be allowed to have a dock on 1,400 feet of coastline. Thank you.
Okay, sir, thank you. Jay, so we do not have that overlay, correct?
I do not. I'm sorry.
I mean, I just had an idea. I can point my camera to my screen with the half-a-mile plan that I submitted to you, and we can look at it that way. How that sounds?
I'm not comfortable in that. And again, I appreciate the gentleman's input here on the boat. We understand that, but we also need to protect the rest of the access for other people using the water sheet in this area. I mean, we went from, and I understand that the change and how it came about, but we basically went from a 2-person dinghy to a 34-foot boat. And I understand why, you're doing that now from that other report, but that's a big leap from what we thought was being approved for this area.
Yeah, I don't think anyone, if it works, it works. It's great. Again, all in favor of it. I'll be the first one to support it, but I came into this meeting expecting clarification of whether we were going for a motorized vessel or not. And that's a drastic change. So I'm sure you did support it, submit the documents, but give us the opportunity to just look at it in its totality, craft some questions so that hopefully in the next meeting that everything you're saying is spot on and it does not impede any waterway, and we can grant you what you're looking for. We need docks in this town. There's no doubt about it. We are in favor of it as a committee. And I say that with 100% honesty. But do not expect us to make a decision without the information in front of us at our fingertips to try to protect the whole of the community.
And I do understand that. So that is reasonable. I do, however, again, going to ask the question again. So why don't you have all the information that we submitted? But on any event, I will need to know what exactly you're going to be looking for, and if there's something that you're missing, that so you have it with plenty of time, so we don't come back next month and then be on the same situation.
Jose, I think what we're looking for is an overlay of exactly where this is going on a satellite image so that we can see it on the creek. There's, some disparity here over where the property line is. The structure that you're showing on the plans, it looks like the pier is coming off to the south of that structure, and you're saying it's to the north. So I think that's where the confusion is. If you could just email me an overlay on a satellite image of where this is going, we can use the GIS to determine how much room there is surrounding that area.
Okay, I can totally do that. And again, this is going to be a resend because we did include a half-a-mile overlay image with the pier before, showing everything that's around. So that has to be in your file somewhere, but we will resend that to you and go from there.
Yeah, resend that so Jay can have it, and when we go to a breakout room, he'll be able to present that, and it can be pulled up, overlaid. We totally will understand where on the water sheet exactly this thing is going to be, and we will take it up.
That's fine. We'll do that, and hopefully that helps. But I honestly don't see how we can be confused about the shortest portion of the marsh. There's only one location on the marsh that has that dimension.
I don't understand how we can vocalize it any differently than we have. I really,
that's fine. That's fine.
No,
we're good. And we are in agreement with you, Mr. Todd. We will submit that, and we understand your point. We totally do.
Trying to work with you, but for tonight, this conversation's over.
Okay.
Jose,
Can I speak again before this meeting's ended?
Yes, sir.
Can we put a condition on, because you have 4 members there tonight, and we go in a month and there'll probably be 3 or 4 others, and we're gonna have to go through the routine. Can we just have a motion to say that we just provide the overlay and see where the boat is, reference to the bank lines, instead of going through the whole process over again?
No, that doesn't have to go to a motion. It is on the record as to what we have discussed, what we want, by another committee member joining that couldn't be on tonight. I mean, we have a quorum, we have a majority of the members, but that's the big question that needs to be answered.
Can't we just have it on the question to be answered, that we need to provide that information instead of going through the whole process of all these other questions?
Well, I think once we get what we want, it's going to be, we'll be able to jump right to it and have a discussion as to the overlay and vote it up or down.
Okay, I heard that.
Just one more question. How would you prefer to get that information? Hard copies or electronically? And how do we get it to you?
I was going to suggest if you could call the office tomorrow and ask for me, let's exchange some emails so that I can make sure we get exactly what we need. And then that way we can move forward with this.
Okay, and I am actually in Barnstable. If you like, I can even swing by your office, meet in person, whatever is easier.
Well, like the chairman said, I'm going to need an electronic copy so that I can share it with the committee. So I think the best thing to do is just give me a call tomorrow. We'll exchange a couple of emails and we'll get this done.
Okay, perfect. Will do.
All right,
Thank you.
sir.
Thank you all for your time. I appreciate
Thank
it.
you very much.
Okay, thank you, and we'll see you next month.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
All right, Mr. Chairman, next on the agenda is the mooring appeals. And I believe
Yes.
some people here tonight.
Okay, we have 3. Is that all you have, Jay? 3 of
Yes,
them?
sir.
Okay, and the standard question, all first-time folks missing it?
These are all first-time offenders. Yes, sir.
Okay, do we have Mr. Field present?
Present.
Okay, Mr. Higgins? Ian Kirby?
Mrs. Kirby is here as well.
Okay, and do we have Mr. Higgins?
He is here. He's just on mute.
Okay, so the standard is that if you have missed, and you have not missed on prior occasions, if this is the first time that you have missed the deadline, it's been the policy of this committee to reinstate you, but you do need to be very much aware that if you come back to us again, if you miss it again, for whatever reason, I know there's a lot of folks have different reasons, some of all sorts of different reasons. So we just ask everybody to please make sure that you do not miss it again, that you take care of this. And if you would, you will be in touch with the harbor master's office, pay any of the back fees, late fees, or associated costs with it, and you will be reinstated. Do you folks, any questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion from a committee member to approve the reinstatement of Mr. Field, Mr. Higgins, and Ms. Kirby for moorings.
So moved.
Second.
Thanks. All right, thank you.
Thank you, committee members.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
I should be on that list.
Just wave.
Wave. Hey,
Okay. Fran Elliott, go ahead.
yes, thank you. Yes, I paid my excise tax on the mooring. I've got my documentation here ready. I don't recall ever receiving the bill for the permit, mooring permit. I'd be willing to run down tomorrow to pay the $185 or whatever it is. Kind of a wreck over this. Never missed it before. And, yeah, so
Been there 20.
we've had this mooring 30 years. And,
Okay. Unfortunately, you are not on tonight's list, so my suggestion would be to contact the Harbor Master's office tomorrow morning, find out if, whatever reason, you are not approved, and please do that tomorrow so you can be included in next month's meeting. Jay, you don't have them on this list for tonight?
I do not. Polly and I went over this with a fine-tooth comb. We reached out to everyone. We had them email us if they wanted to be on the agenda. And these are the individuals who emailed us. Mrs. Elliott, did someone get in contact with you about tonight's meeting?
no one did, but I didn't know how to get on the site. And I was playing with it and I finally found some information that our vessel and my name were on this list, wait list, I guess. I don't know what it is.
I'm sorry, ma'am. You have a mooring, correct?
Yes,
In Hyannisport?
yes, HP,
Francis Elliott,
Yeah.
HP 045? Okay.
yes,
All right, so you haven't missed a deadline before, so the committee will
Never
be
did.
favorable of this. But unfortunately, you're just gonna have to call us tomorrow and officially get on the agenda so that we can approve it and hear you next month, okay?
okay, can I call you tomorrow morning?
Yes, ma'am, and I'll just let you know that your mooring is safe. I won't do anything with it, and we'll get you on the agenda next month,
Thank you. How
okay?
do I, yeah, I'm at my daughter's house because I had a hard time trying to figure this, she's right there, trying to figure this
Okay.
out.
All right, well,
All right.
she
I'm
can,
a wreck.
it's okay, she can represent you
She's
now.
helping me. I'm stupid and
Okay.
No,
No.
she's not. She's so yeah, she was told by the office that she was going to be on the agenda for tonight. She
Yeah.
told me 2 weeks ago. So this has been planned for 2 weeks for her to zoom in tonight. She was not aware she was not on a list.
Okay,
Okay.
all right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right,
We hope you have a good month. Don't be a wreck between now and the next meeting, okay?
Oh my God. I've been a wreck, honestly. All right, so next month.
thank you. The Jacob Angelo Fishwary Newell, that's going to be deferred to the next meeting, June 24th. Discussion on the town's local comprehensive plan regarding reference to the marine water quality, shellfish, aquaculture, comments submitted by Harbor Master Taylor. Harbor Master is not with us tonight, and for the committee, we did discuss this at our special meeting, and an email was sent to the the local comprehensive plan committee on our behalf as to what we had discussed last time and our recommendations on continued public access, the continued support of the commercial ventures, as well as everything else that we had listed on the last meeting. So I think that should suffice. Any questions by committee members on that? And and Todd also submitted something as himself. Scudder Lane wait list closure discussion. Go ahead, Jay, on that one.
Yes, sir. Jay Horn, Warrant Officer here. Not too long ago, I approached the committee about the Eel River wait list. At the time, there was 86 individuals on it, and it's one of those mooring fields where we don't see a lot of turnover here in the office. The same thing has arisen with the Scudder Lane mooring field. I have 62 individuals on that wait list right now, and there's not a lot of turnover in this field. It's primarily shell fishermen, commercial shell fishermen. They tend to keep their moorings for a long time. Since I've been in office in the last 5 years, I've permitted a couple of people off the wait list over the past few years. So I want to make a recommendation to the committee to close this wait list so that we can better manage it, get the numbers down, and then reopen it in the future when we have the need. I don't think this needs to be a lottery location. It's not spiraling out of control at the moment. However, I don't like the wait time that's associated with it right now. I'd like to get these numbers down to where our wait list people are not waiting 15, 20, 30, 40 years for a mooring. I think that's unrealistic. So I'm asking for the committee's support to temporarily close this list for the foreseeable future until we can get the numbers down, we can get some turnover in the field, and then I'll open it back up accordingly.
Okay, Jay, roughly how many moorings are we talking about in this area on this field?
There's under 30 permits at Scudder Lane. It's a very sensitive shellfish area. So not to mention a very dynamic area with the tides and the sandbars changing every year. But our shellfish technicians propagate their oysters there. There's a large recreational area towards Howard Boats when you go to the east. And there's not a lot of water to be had. So the majority of the vessels there are Carolina skiffs. Like I said, it's the shell fishermen, 20-foot vessels, very shallow draft. And I just don't have any room to kind of reorganize that field or add any moorings to that location. So as it stands right now, there's high 20s in terms of mooring permits, and again, very, very little turnover.
Okay, so we're more than double on the wait list, and as you said, without a realistic chance to burn through that list in the next 10 years anyway. So committee members, any comments? And if not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the harbor master's request to close the wait list for the Scudder Lane mooring area.
I support Jay's opinion. As a personal opinion, I don't like closing mooring lists, and as everyone in this committee knows, I am staunchly for eliminating all wait lists. But that being said, I support Jay and the facts that are associated with it, and if he's been doing a great job of opening up new spots for people, so I would like to be supportive of him in his continuing effort. So that being said, I will make said motion.
Okay, thanks, Todd. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All right, thanks, Gary. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that's unanimous. Thank you. Next is an experimental pilot project to install a floating island in Eagle Pond, which is Katuitt. Water monitoring green infrastructure community project, Alice M. Craig, planning and development grants coordinator. Is Allison with us? I'm sorry, Alice. Is committee?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm Kyle Pedicini here for the planning department.
Hi, Kyle, go ahead.
Yeah, so this is a project in conjunction with Pope John Paul students. So it's, I believe, 16 AP students with Pope John Paul. It's also in conjunction with the Barnstable Land Trust. Looking to construct basically a floating wetland in Eagle Pond, obviously with permission from the Barnstable Land Trust and the Conservation Commission. And the idea is to plant native species in this kind of floating island. And science students will be going out taking water samples over the summer. It will be constructed off-site and then brought in by hand and then by the students. It's the anchor. It's a let me just pull it up. It's a center anchor reef block by chain. So happy to answer any questions.
What are the dimensions on this, Kyle?
Hold on, let me pull that up. So it's like a like a hexagon, and it's about 6 feet wide. It's about 6 by 6, basically.
Okay, thank you. Similar to the Long Pond Marston's Mills floating island project?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Members, any questions?
No, I think it's great. The only thing that I would ask is there's the landing by Eagle Pond with that little, it's a very, very small section of sandy beach with the benches there that obviously when it's placed, if it could be a little bit outside of that, because there are a few people that tend to swim there once in a while. But other than that, I think it's a great thing.
Yeah, Barnstable Land Trust picked the location, so it's not right off of where people are. It's not right in that location to not interfere with that kind of stuff. It's off this like little inlet off the side. So point taken.
Perfect. That's great. Good luck with it.
Thank you. I'll entertain a motion to accept this as proposed.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Thanks, Greg. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Proposed potential removal of Coast Guard navigational aids along the U.S. Northeast coast. Comments submitted by the Harbor Master. I did speak with the Harbor Master about this, and particularly in Barnstable, the town of Barnstable. Two of the aids that have been proposed by the Coast Guard to remove would be the HH buoy, which is the Hyannis Harbor buoy, and the BH buoy, which is the Barnstable Harbor buoy. I know everybody's probably familiar with these. I did have a conversation with some of the folks that go by these all the time, Murray Scudder, Highline, some other folks that are sending their own letters from their companies not in favor of having these removed, and would like to have an opinion from the Waterways Committee, independent of those folks. We'll have a discussion as to what do we think about this. So, members' input.
Yeah, this is Gary. I brought this up to Brian a while ago as well. And, I am not in favor of removing the navigational aids for basically for safety reasons. And a lot of people are not familiar with the areas for navigation, especially Barnstable Harbor area. It's very shoaly, and yeah, that's an issue, especially for the novices that are out there that may not have all the electronics available.
Thanks, Gary.
I agree with Gary. It's, unfortunately, a lot of people they boat on cruise control and those markers, including, Hyannis, Barnstable Harbor, the one off Nantucket, they're proposing to get rid of, that everybody's navigated by those as destinations for so long that removing them, I just don't think it's safe. I think maybe a transition over time, but I think in the immediate future that they need to put a little more consideration into those things based on just the sheer volume of vessels and boaters that we have on the waters.
Okay, thanks, Todd. Greg?
I'm in agreement with everyone who's spoken so far.
Great. Okay. I will ask, independent of the Harbor Master, we'll draw up a letter to there's a specific address for the Coast Guard to send comments to, in that the Town of Barnstable Waterways Committee is not in support of removal of these two specific aids to navigation within the Town of Barnstable for the reasons stated. And I'll make sure that letter gets drafted and sent. Thank you all. Correspondence, all Cape boat rental, commercial mooring discussion. Go ahead, Jay, on this one.
Yeah, we've had some recent discussions about this, and I believe Jacob Dewey is here tonight. He submitted another letter of correspondence requesting a commercial mooring either in Hyannisport or Lewis Bay for his rental boat company. And at this time, as I previously stated, we have some issues with our licensed servicers. I presented some changes to the committee recently, and I just want to remind everyone that it's a process to get our regulations changed. I have to submit them to our legal department first. The last time I did that, it took 6 months of revisions and emails to get those approved, and that was just the first step. They have to go on to town council and town manager, et cetera. So at this time, we're still having internal discussion about our commercial moorings. The vast majority of them that have been permitted in this town were permitted a very long time ago. We haven't had an influx of demand like this since I've been a mooring officer. Not one person has applied for a commercial mooring, to my knowledge, since I've been here in the last 4 years, with the exception of recently, Barnstable Marine and Anchor and Buoy, but those were different circumstances. Those permits were individual; they were already on the wait list, and we just changed the designation to commercial. What makes these two requests unique is that these individuals are essentially looking to bypass the wait list, and in an area where we have a lot of demand. Both Lewis Bay and Hyannisport have consistently had about 200 people on that wait list since I've been here. The wait times have typically been 15 to 20 years. So this is a very hard decision for the Harbor Master Department, one that we can't make alone. We're going to need the committee's input on this. But at this time, we're not prepared to make any decision or permit these, just due to the other regulations that we're looking at right now that kind of take precedent over this. But I will allow each of these members to speak on behalf of their needs to the committee, and I welcome any comments that the committee might have.
Okay, so for All Cape Boat Rental, do we have Mr. Dewey?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you. Thank you, committee. So I'm referencing the regulations that were adopted in January of this year. I put the verbiage in the letter. It says commercial moorings as your definition that are not for sale or rent, but used by a commercial establishment for the holding of boats for sale, repair, or the like. The state recognizes me and my operation as boats that are for sale for a temporary period of time. That's how we are taxed. That's how we're identified as a business to the state. So I honestly don't think there's a need for an appeal here on this, as that's the way the regulations are written. But the harbor master didn't feel comfortable approving a commercial mooring in this instance. So we're here before you to try to ask for this. And as the season's upon us, it would be very helpful for us to be able to rotate our boats in the water. Otherwise, the boats are coming out on trailers on a daily basis. So the request, I think, follows the regulations as written and as approved by the town. But I defer to you all for any questions or thoughts of ways to move forward.
As he stated, as Jay stated, it's something we gotta look at. We're not comfortable in granting moorings in closed mooring fields where there is a wait list. We just can't wave a wand and open up another spot. I understand, that your business, you're in and out, you're in and out. And where are you operating? Just in the town of Barnstable or other towns?
Yep, we're in Hyannis Harbor. I mean, I think the intent of the commercial mooring is to support business in the town, because you can't wait 15 years to open a business. And I think that was the intent of this regulation being created, to allow something that has multi-person use. We're serving thousands of people over the summer, and getting thousands of people on the water. And again, I get that we're still battling over the regulations, but I was here a month ago and I was told the same thing. So I guess I just asked what's happened in the last month because now we're going to be into June.
Right. Do we have South Cape mooring? Are they with us tonight too?
Mr. Rand is here, yes.
Okay.
I think I'm on. Am I on right now?
Yeah, we hear you. So where do you operate out of, sir?
Yeah, good evening, guys. My name is Josh Rand. I operate Mashpee, Falmouth, Barnstable, and Sandwich.
Okay, and what type of business are you?
Yeah, we maintain, install, inspect moorings. We have just about 400 moorings located throughout all four towns we operate in. We've been in business since 2018 when I bought the business from a former teacher of mine at Mass Maritime. A couple years ago, we got into the Hyannisport mooring field. I believe it was 2021. And yeah, it's been great. It's been a challenge. This year we had an influx of new customers. I did send a letter to the board with a couple photographs of what we found so far this spring. But there's definitely a lot of work to be done in the Hyannisport mooring field this year. And we're inspecting every mooring that we've taken over from a new customer this year. The reason I'm asking for a commercial mooring is essentially we have about 10 moorings that are helix moorings. And these require a diver. They require a little bit more planning, I guess. And one of the big parts of that is getting the vessel off the mooring so you can safely, make repairs as needed. A lot of these boats are bigger. It's not a 12-foot skiff that I can hang off the back of my barge while I complete the repairs. A lot of these are 20 to 30 to 35-foot sailboats, which are a little harder to move for me being by myself. So the ability to take some of these larger boats off these moorings, tow them over to a commercial mooring, and that way I could safely and efficiently complete inspections on those said moorings of the helixes and a couple 8,000 pound moorings.
Okay. As you heard the Deputy Harbor Master say, that's something that their office is going to have to look at as far as changing how we get there and not jumping the wait list, the closed area wait lists. Hold on.
But Jay, wasn't when the commercial mooring was created, it was created with a provision to jump the list. That was how it was created. That was identified as that. I mean, why do we need to change that now?
Not necessarily. The vast majority of these moorings that are designated commercial now were actually individual, and they were established long before we had waitlists. When you look at Crosby Yacht Yard and Oyster Harbors and Steve Murray, who's a licensed servicer, these moorings have been passed down from generation to generation. Anchor Buoy is a great example. His father was a licensed servicer. They acquired the business from another gentleman who already had moorings. So it's a sensitive issue now because we're in such high demand. Our moorings are in such high demand in Barnstable. They're a very limited asset, and it's very difficult to tell 200 people on the wait list that a business can just come in and grab one without a wait. That's a tough sell for me as a mooring officer to these people that I'm representing. And, I fight for on a daily basis. I'm out there every year looking for illegal moorings, looking for holes in my mooring fields where I can adjust things and get these people off the wait list. I have a strong sense of dedication to them and the process. And for generations, my predecessors have constantly amended these regulations so that people can't essentially buy their way into this program. That's the best part of my job. We've created a system that's fair and equitable for all. I know it's not ideal. You have to put your name on that list. You have to wait a certain period of time. But after that, you have a mooring and it's in your family or it's in your business for generations. So yes, we have permitted a long time ago. We have permitted people a commercial mooring. Sometimes we've done that in a non-designated area that didn't have a wait list. Sometimes we've done that in an area with no wait list. Like for example, if you were asking for a mooring in Barnstable Harbor, you know, the Millway mooring field is open right now. I could give you a commercial mooring over there tomorrow. But in an area such as Hyannisport or Lewis Bay, it's a highly desirable area, and that's a tough sell. And I wouldn't feel comfortable supporting that or making that recommendation to the committee at this time.
Okay, well, the short of it is that we would not be amenable to departing from our wait list right now to approve a mooring, a commercial mooring for either of these entities.
So I guess, Mr. Chair, so what do we intend to happen in the next month? You said we need another month to work on this. What's the action plan for that, or Jay, what do you think we're working on?
Well, go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, you haven't applied for a mooring, so we're putting this under correspondence. I'm not going to be able to resolve this in the next month. We had a recent issue with our licensed servicers. We recognized that some of these regulations need to be changed, and I have to get them into effect by 2026. And as far away as that seems, you know, at the speed that some of the town departments work at, it's going to take a lot of effort to get those approved. So at this point, I would like to hear what the committee thinks about this. I'd really be interested in hearing from the committee members on any advice they might have for the department, how they feel about these commercial moorings and individuals who don't have an individual permit and are looking to, you know, go right to a commercial. I'd like to hear from the committee members on that.
Mr. Chairman, if whenever I get a chance, South Cape Moorings just like to talk a little bit.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, good evening again, guys. Yeah, the whole I was a launch driver in Hyannisport, worked there for 10 years, spent a lot of time in the mooring fields. The purpose of a commercial mooring, for my aspect, is not to have a boat on there. It's not to take anybody's spots on the wait list. It's really to ensure that all the moorings out there are safe, that we don't have any breakaways. I've been doing this since 2018. I've never had a mooring fail. What I'm dealing with in Hyannisport is larger boats, larger moorings, bigger operation. The other mooring service providers who service the area have commercial moorings. So I'm really just, the interest in my mooring is not just for myself. It's not like I'm going to be having my skiff out there. I'm more of a sandy net guy myself. Point being said is that I need to ensure that these large helix moorings who are installed by another service provider, these large 1,000-pounder, 15-pounder moorings are secure, they're safe, and they're going to hold up when it's blowing southwest or southeast in 30, 40 knots. You know, a commercial mooring, and the interest of South Cape moorings here would be more for the greater good of the entire mooring field instead of the company itself.
Okay. Committee members, thoughts on this?
I'm all in favor of commercial moorings. I think it's a necessary part of our community. I think Jay has done an absolutely tremendous job to date of opening up moorings. I also think that as a committee, we need to try to go out of our way to continue to support him in fixing the system that's been broken for a long time. But I also think we need to put a priority on commercial moorings. If we want businesses in this area to flourish, and I believe we want to support them, I know I do. In cases like this, it's imperative for their survival. They're working on the water. If we can find ways to support them, I think it's beneficial to us as a community to do so. That's not questioning anything that Jay's done, and certainly the limited resources that he's provided to do what he's already accomplished. But I think is speaking as a member of a committee, I would be in support of these things, and I would dedicate time to try to get them to fruition.
Okay, thanks, Todd.
Yeah, this is Gary. I do agree with all the different positions on there. There's a sensitivity around the wait lists and availability, but also when it comes to the commercial, um, looking at for those larger vessels, that's a safety issue. And looking at the all Cape boat rental, what's the impact to the boat ramps during busy times? Also, how does that affect the flow within the harbors? With vessels as well as the ramps. So I think maybe we could have a off-schedule meeting like we recently had to discuss all the different ways to look at it.
Okay, Gary, thank you. Jay, my suggestion would be speak with the harbor master about this, and we can, as Gary said, we can put it on maybe as an agenda item for next month to discuss any possible ways. And again, as everybody said, the sensitivity of jumping the list to provide a commercial mooring for other entities. How many, would you consider, one per anchorage, one per area? How do you determine who gets that? I mean, that's, there's a lot to consider. And again, like Gary said, and also just relieving congestion at a ramp with a business in and out with the boats. But I think it needs some further discussion internally with the Harbor Master Department. And as Todd says, which I totally agree, that we need to get it to a point where we can help these businesses as well. So is that something that seems reasonable to the committee? We'll bring it up again next month after discussion with the harbor master and the mooring officer for any possible out of the box type consideration.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I think this might be, open for a workshop. I think let me talk to Harbor Master Taylor, and maybe we can propose a workshop at next month's meeting, so we can talk about this specifically. I kind of feel bad because these two requests are, in my eyes, two completely different scenarios here. In terms of South Cape mooring, this is a necessity. This is a public safety issue, as far as I'm concerned. The majority, almost all of my licensed servicers do have a commercial mooring, and that's a benefit to the town. That's a benefit to the public. It's a benefit to the entire mooring field. They need to be able to get that vessel off of the mooring, inspect that mooring, repair it, and have a place to temporarily store that vessel. All Cape boat rental, this is a different scenario. This is a more of a convenience thing in my eyes. This is going to help him run his business more efficiently. Does it draw tourism to the area? Sure. But I just think we're comparing apples to oranges with these two different requests here. So I would very much like to have a workshop with the committee members on this and take a look at it and see how we can resolve it moving forward.
Okay, that sounds good. So thanks, Mr. Rand and Mr. Dewey, and I'm sure you'll be in touch with the harbor master, or they'll be back in touch with you, and let's figure out what we can do to possibly help you going forward. Harbor Master report. Thank you. Harbor Master report.
Yes. So once again, Jay Horn, Mooring Officer, Deputy Harbor Master. I apologize, gentlemen. I know it's been a long meeting. I thank you for your patience. There are several items on the report tonight that myself and the Harbor Master just wanted to share with the public and the community. I want to let you know that we've had issues annually every year with the squid community and the squid fishing off of Hyannisport. We had a call this year again. Good Samaritan was able to pull the individuals out of the water. Harbor Master Taylor and myself responded. We were out there half the night dealing with the submerged vessel. It was a serious risk to navigation with all the boat traffic that was out there. We were able to mark it for the night safely, have it at anchor, and then the next day, Harbor Master Taylor and myself, we actually towed that in. The gentleman refused to get a commercial service involved. We talked to several of them, and they were okay with us removing that vessel, getting it into Hyannisport on a mooring, one of our transient moorings, so that we could remove that hazard to navigation. Point being said, we have a dedicated safety officer here now at the Harbor Master's office. His name is James Hurley. He has a lot of experience. He has taught the captain's class in Hyannis for years and got most of the ferry captains their license. And he has been out doing safety inspections, particularly at the Gary Brown Ramp in Hyannis, also over at Blish Point with our shell fishermen. And since May 1st, he's done over 60 vessel safety inspections, and he takes them very seriously. He does not allow people to launch their boat, or he'll terminate the voyage if they don't have the necessary safety equipment on board. And I just think it's great. I think we're being proactive. I think we're ensuring safer waterways for everyone, and trying to get to these individuals and educate them before they go out in these conditions. So once again, a lot of respect, a lot of admiration for Mr. Hurley for stepping up and getting this program together. The 3 bays boaters, the dredge pipe has finally been removed in Katuitt. It was hanging out a lot longer than we anticipated. It has been removed, as well as all of our ATOMs are out right now. As you know, we do over 200 ATOMs every year throughout the town, including no wake and danger rock buoys, as well as our normal channel markers and swim buoys, etc. It's a lot of work replacing all that chain, getting them on location. Just want to let the public know that use your judgment early in the spring, because these buoys have to set. We GIS their coordinates every year. We put them and mark the channels as best we can, but they tend to drift and get off station early in the season. And we do have to reset them a couple times before they're kind of locked in for the year. So just be advised, if you're navigating early this time of year, they might not all be perfectly representing the channel, but we do go out there every week and make those adjustments and make sure that the community is safe. We had a large construction project at Bismore for all our commercial guys down there. We had to replace the main water lines. Took over a month to get those replaced and the pavement cut up and reinstalled, but that project is finally done, and we're excited about that. The big news for this weekend is Figawi. Expecting over 100 boats for the Figawi race. They are departing Saturday morning on the 24th. We have extended our patrol shifts that weekend. Friday night is a very popular night in the harbor. We will be out in the patrol boat till 10:30 that night, making sure that everyone's safe, that is arriving, gets to their mooring, gets to their dock, and we look forward to that race on Saturday. We have extended our patrols in general. I just wanted to talk to the committee about that and the public. I made a suggestion to Harbor Master Taylor to look at our software system and develop some analytics off of that, which he took the time to do. And it was able to give us a better overview of when our calls to service come in, what time of year, what time of day, even the time of week. So we have better data to look at now, thanks to our software, and we were able to adjust our patrol schedules accordingly. So we're keeping our marinas open now from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And we're extending our patrol shifts. It used to be 4:30 to 6:30. Now we're going to be doing 8:30 from those core months from 4th of July until September 1st. We also have a night security guard now that goes out throughout the town to our landings, to our marinas. He works Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. He works the night shift. He's there checking out the town all night long. And the last thing is we also incorporated an outreach safety program this year for our sailing communities. So Mr. Hurley, myself, Assistant Harbor Master Tyler McKay, we're going to areas like Barnstable Rec, sailing program at the Hyannis Yacht Club, the Mosquito Yacht Club, Weano Yacht Club, and we're meeting with these coaches. We're going over the safety equipment in their boats and the proper protocol for marine emergencies if they do have any accidents on the water this summer. And I just want to thank everyone again for their time. I know it was a long meeting. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next month.
Great, thanks, Jay. All right, as Jay said, the hour is late and a long meeting, so thanks all. And our next meeting will be the 24th of June. And anything else from any committee member before we go? And if not, we'll stand adjourned.